Hello, this is Gilbert O'Sullivan, and you're watching LifeMinute TV.
With a career spanning 55 years and counting, revered singer-songwriter Gilbert O'Sullivan is still delighting fans with new music and international performances at the age of 78. The Irish-born musician first found mega success in the UK and US with 70s hits Alone Again, Naturally, Clair, and Get Down. His latest album, Songbook, pays tribute to those early songs by including pared-down versions of 11 tracks from his outstanding catalogue, and one new one, A Kiss is a Kiss. We were lucky enough to sit down with the illustrious artist virtually to talk all about it, as well as his current tour and what's to come next. This is the Life Minute with Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Well, it's a stripped-down version of many of my best-known and well-known songs, plus one new one. Just a project that started last year. We did a concert in London, the Barbican, which is a well-known theatre, and the head of the record company was there. And the concert consisted of myself on piano and the guitar player, Bill Shanley, just doing it this year, and we do it again next year. After the concert, they really enjoyed it, and they felt that it would be nice to replicate that on record. So that kind of led to us spending a couple of days in a small theatre in London, no audience, and over 2 days, a couple of versions of each song, so it's pretty much live. Very little overdubbing then, mixed, and there it is. Then it's out. It's me on the piano singing, Bill on guitar, playing and backing me and stuff. That's the setup, and it works really well. The stripped-down version are kind of nice for people because they get to hear the words clearer. Sometimes you get criticism with the band a bit too loud, and people say, we didn't get to hear, we'd like to hear the words. So in that sense, it's worked out really well. Well, you'll see there's 12 songs, 11 of them are a mixture of old, and then we have one new song. There's no Get Down, which of course was a big hit in America. But it's just an interesting collection, I think, that you've got your Nothing Rhymes, you've got Alone Again, and you've got Clair. There's a couple of album tracks people are not used to hearing from particular albums and stuff. So I think the mix is quite good. I hope so anyway.
Claire, I've told you before, don't you dare.
It's generally the melody first. I think that will dictate pretty much how the lyrics will go. Occasionally you have its title. There's a song on this album called Dance At Dreams and 45s. I always had that lying around and stuff. So by picking up on that, when I felt it was a good melody to go with it, that kind of led to me doing that. But mostly it's the melody. Will kind of set out how I want to approach it lyrically. To be able to write music, you have to hear and like good music. I don't think you can be a good songwriter if you don't like what's going on around you. I'll buy everything because you're always learning. The way the marketplace is today, the way the business is today, it doesn't bother me. What I do isn't rocket science. There are more songwriters today than there ever were when I first started and stuff. I used to say in an audience, how many people in the audience are decorators and stuff? So maybe 3 hands would go up in a 1,500 theatre. Say, how many songwriters in here? Hundreds would go up. Because everybody writes songs these days, which can be no bad thing if they're good songs. That's the thing I enjoy. It's the key to everything I do. Without the songs, I wouldn't be talking to you. Yeah, I love the craft of songwriting. You don't know if it's a great song. What you do is, when you've finished what you think is a good song, that in a way is success, because that's you, just you. Nobody's heard it. Nobody's involved in it other than you. So when you've written what you think is a good song, that's a nice feeling, because that's something you have control over. Whereas when the record is released, it's in the hands of record companies and many other things. That's the important factor.
I did on my own, alone again, naturally.
With all my songs, the writing is there. I was happy with Alone Again. I liked the subject matter. I didn't experience it, but I had an understanding of what somebody might be going through to contemplate suicide. I know the sadness you feel when you lose a relative or a parent. So those kind of issues are interesting as a lyricist to be able to write about them. There are other songs which are just simple little rock songs or straightforward pop songs. When I got interested in music, it was just liking what I heard on the radio. The Everly Brothers are fantastic. Early Beatles, fantastic. Those are the big buzz, the influences you have as you go through your life. So it's always about music you hear, certain tracks by certain people. As I said earlier, I buy everything just to learn from it. That's how you keep in touch with what's going on. You can't be a contemporary songwriter if you don't like what's going on around you. Sabrina Carpenter, her 2 albums, the production is great, very contemporary production. That's a cool song. Please, 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 it's a really good pop song. She's a very good pop songwriter. Just like I'm a huge fan of Bonnie Raitt. I always loved Bonnie Raitt. Joni Mitchell, I'm a huge fan of Joni Mitchell. But I buy out, the contemporary stuff. The Beatles were the catalyst for wanting to be in a band. When they came on the scene, they could write great songs and they couldn't read music. So we kind of identified with that. And you kind of felt, well, if they could do it, maybe we could do that kind of thing. So that led to it. Then you join a band. I was a drummer in a band, drummer in a second band, drummer in a really good band. That didn't quite work out, which led to me going off on my own to try and break into the music business, coming to London, big London. Making my first record in 1967 was a thrill. It wasn't a hit, but it was an experience that I hadn't had at that point. A big-time producer, musicians. So I enjoyed the experience, learned from that. Went through to a point in 1969, after failure here and there on the way up, that I needed solo representation. So Gordon Mills, who managed Tom Jones, Engelbert Humperdinck, I wrote to him as the manager of the biggest solo artist in the world to see if he would be interested in me. And he's an ex-songwriter. He co-wrote It's Not Unusual for Tom Jones, so he knew about songs. So while he didn't like how I looked, he liked the songs and he invited me to his home. I had to play more than he had heard on the tape to be sure that I was good enough for him. And that led to the first success that I had in 1970. So that was a major good decision.
Clair, the moment I met you, I swear.
I think it's the fact that I write songs which people seem to like them. I'm not dependent on the past. If I couldn't write songs now, I wouldn't be talking to you. I'd become a gardener or something. I don't know. But it's the songs that keep me going. It's the songs that interest me. People seem to like them, which is, when you're making new albums, somebody told me I've done about 21 albums now. So it's nice that the current albums you're putting out in the last couple of years and this year, they're critically well received. So I think that's a positive thing going forward. I go right back to the first record. That was a highlight. The first cover of one of my songs by a very well-known American singer called Tom Rush. He promoted people like James Taylor and stuff. So he did one of my early songs. That was a big thrill. But I suppose the best thrill would have been to have the first success with a song called Nothing Rhymed, which was a major hit all around Europe. Not in America, but pretty much everywhere else. So that was an incredible feeling to get that. So the variety is the key factor too, because when we do a concert, it's a 2-hour concert. All the songs are mine. God forbid if somebody out there didn't like them, they'd be in trouble. Well, they get a mixture of fast, slow, medium, funny, serious, over 2 hours, break in the middle. As I say, the simplicity, the up close and personal approach seems to work really well. Audiences seem to like that approach with us. Long may that continue. Yeah, well, no alcohol. So alcohol is out. Exercise is important. I do voice exercise, which I have on a screen given to me by a teacher. So I do those every day because the voice is the key factor. Without the voice, you're in trouble. So I'm 77 years of age. As one gets older, it becomes more difficult. So you have to work really hard. And I do work hard to retain that good vocal element. Because without that, I think I would stop. It's the most important factor after writing the song. We'll carry on promoting this. We start concerts again on the 12th of this month. We go back to Liverpool, Birmingham, Glasgow, a few other places. And then next year, we'll have a new album, which we'll start recording in the new year. Most of the songs for that I have written. The 12th song on this album, which is a new song, that was meant to be on the next album, but we decided that for the live album, we would put a new song on this album. So that's pretty much the imminent future.
To hear more of this interview, visit our podcast, LifeMinute TV, on iTunes and all streaming podcast platforms.